Today is the day to talk about emotions. Emotions have been a really crazy thing for me for all of my life. I grew up in a family where it didn't feel super healthy to express my emotions. I constantly felt like I had to stuff everything, I just had to be fine. Everything's fine because you're good. Tough it up. You got this. And while it was meant to be empowering, it really made me think that sadness was a negative thing. And really, until about 6 months ago or a year ago, I viewed sadness as a bad thing and I tried to avoid it at all costs. I still have a really hard time with sadness. I still revert to anger a lot of times instead of feeling sad, but I do feel like I do have a much better and healthier perspective of sadness than I did for so many years, and I really want to share that with you. So, for the longest time, I just switched to getting angry instead of feeling sadness. And it's really just because I've had such a negative perspective and I've stuffed things so deeply. And so when someone hurts me, I just feel angry and I feel bitter towards them and I have a hard time forgiving them. And a lot of times what's actually happening is they actually wounded me and it really, really hurt me. And instead of letting myself feel that sadness and realizing that they hurt me, I just want to be angry and I want to hold that against them. And while those feelings are valid too, it's not healthy for me to bury my sadness in an effort to avoid sadness. It's not healthy for me to always revert to anger anytime someone hurts me. And this is such a hard thing. It's so hard because I feel like in our society, people say all the time, you be you, and it's okay to cry in public, and we have all these people saying all these things to us, and we want to believe that it's okay to be vulnerable. But crying feels like such, at least for me, it feels like such a tender, vulnerable thing to do. And it almost feels like you don't want to share it with other people. It almost feels like when you cry, it's giving another part of yourself to the people seeing you cry. That's how it's felt for me for forever. It always feels humiliating to cry in front of people. It always feels like I'm a burden to them. And I still have a really hard time with this. I've been really trying to work on it. And just giving myself space to cry and the permission to cry. Because I feel like so many times I hold myself back from crying and I don't let myself feel that. But crying can literally be so healthy, and there are literally so many studies that show that when you cry, it actually helps you feel so much better. And so, even just for the health benefits, I want to get better at crying. I want to get better at expressing myself through that emotion and just realizing that it's okay to cry and that it's not this huge, vulnerable, showing my heart to everyone piece that I'm imagining that it is. It is vulnerable and it is showing people what I feel, but it's really not any different from anger, because anger is also showing people what I feel. It's just in a different form of emotion. And it's so hard to not cry when other people are crying and to just feel numb when other people are showing that emotion. You feel like you're a bad person and you feel like other people are judging you. And even though the culture has tried to tell us that it's okay to cry and that it's not a weak thing, it's really hard to actually do that for ourselves and to actually give ourselves permission for that. And something that I've realized is that I really think and I really believe that we make too much of a deal out of crying. We make way too big of a deal of it. At least I do. In my head, it's this huge, vulnerable thing, and everyone's going to wonder what's wrong, and it just feels like it creates a scene. But in reality, that's not what it should be. It can do that. But a lot of times, it can literally just be a way of expressing the thing that you feel inside of you. And it's literally an emotion, just like happiness is and anger is. It's literally just an emotion like that. Me showing people how happy I am and how excited I get over things. Or me getting angry and being bitter and not forgiving someone are also emotions. And just the same as sadness, in the idea that each thing is showing a piece of your heart to those people, whether you like it or not. We will always have emotions. We will always show them to people because that's just how humans are. Humans have emotions. Shocker, I know. And when we try to stuff sadness deep down, we're not allowing ourselves to feel an emotion that has literally been given to us to help us process our pain. Sadness isn't an enemy, and crying is not an enemy. Crying and sadness are literally our friends, and they're literally meant to help us work through the pain that's inside of us. Like I said, so many studies show that when you cry, it releases hormones that literally help you feel better and feel less pain. And so if we viewed crying as that and sadness as that, and if we viewed them as a helper and as our companion and as a buddy and as this thing that's trying to help us out, I don't think we would view it in quite a negative way. And I really think that we would be more in tune with our sadness and be more okay with crying in front of people and being more comfortable with people crying in front of us, because it is a vulnerable thing, but it's also just as vulnerable as all the other emotions. And it can also be a really beautiful place to meet people at and to be there for them and to show love to. And it's also a beautiful place for people to show love to you and to be there for you. And it can literally help you so much process your emotions, and stuffing it will not help. Trust me, I've done it so many times. So this is just a little talk with you that I hope just made you think a little bit more about emotions and specifically sadness, because this is something that I've been really, really trying to work through, and I'm not perfect at, not as good yet, still having a hard time, crying a lot, but I hope that this just made you think and that maybe you'll cry a little bit more because of this.